everyone. In this video, I want to take a look at how we can use the angle addition postulate when we're working with right angles or straight angles. So the big thing to remember here is a right angle is exactly 90 degrees and a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. The other thing we're going to need to know is how to recognize each of those in a diagram. So in my first example, if I just look at what's going on, the first thing I should note is in the corner, I have this little red box. So that little red box is indicating that this is a right angle. So right away, I know that this entire thing, so this entire angle, the entire angle has a measure of 90 degrees. As long as I know that, I can use the angle addition postulate to help me set up an equation. So the angle addition postulate says if I take the two smaller ones and add them together, I should get the larger one. So for this diagram, that's going to mean the measure of angle EFH on the left. If I add that to the measure of angle HFG, altogether that should give me my right angle, which is the measure of angle EFG, which we know to be 90. So the first smaller angle, angle EFH, that's represented by the expression 2x plus 2. So right here, so that's just this little piece. My second little piece over here down below, the measure of angle HFG is represented by the expression x plus 1. And as we saw from the little box in the corner, I know that together those two angles have to add to 90. So again, the angle addition postulate is allowing us to set up this equation. Add the two smaller ones together to get the total. So now let's solve for x. So combining like terms, we have 3x plus 3 is equal to 90. Let's isolate the variable term. So I'll subtract 3 from both sides. So that gives me 3x is equal to 87. And then lastly, dividing by 3, we get an x value of 29. All right, so we were able to find that value for the variable. But not only that, now we can go back through and we can find out how big these angles are. So now I can substitute that in. So let's start with the smaller one first. This seems like it's going to be easier to work with. So the measure of angle HFG, instead of x, I'll substitute in 29. So this is just 29 plus 1. So that means this angle has a measure of 30. So this angle here, this is 30 degrees. Now I could do the same thing, substitute in 29 for x in my other angle, but I do know that altogether they have to add up to 90. So instead, if I want to find the measure of angle EFH, I could do 90 minus the smaller angle I already found of 30. So that tells me that this angle has to be 60 degrees. So this angle in here, that covers 60 degrees. All right, let's do one more, but this time let's look at a straight angle. This is going to be the same sort of setup. So we'll use our angle addition postulate, but now instead of setting it equal to 90, we're going to set this entire thing equal to 180. So our postulate is going to tell us that the measure of angle KLN over on the left, if I add that to the measure of angle NLM on the right, together those have to be the straight angle, which is 180. Now let's do some substitution. So over here on the left, that's our first angle, KLN, so 10x minus 5. Over here on the right, our angle NLM, so that's represented by 4x plus 3. And altogether, this is 180 degrees. All right, so we'll combine like terms. 10x and 4x is 14. Negative 5 and 3, we get a minus 2. I can add 2 to both sides to isolate the variable term. And dividing by 14 will give me my value for x, which is 13. And again, now that we know that variable term, we can substitute that back in to find out how big each of these angles are. I'm going to start with the one on the left. So the measure of angle KLN, instead of x, we'll substitute in 13. So 10 times 13 minus 5. 10 and 13, multiplying those together, we get 130. And if I subtract 5, we get 125 degrees. So there's the first one. I could substitute in 13 for x in my second one, but as we saw with the last example, I already know that altogether it has to be 180. So to find out this last piece, I can do 180 minus the angle we already found of 125, and altogether, when all is said and done, that has to be 55 degrees. All right, so using the angle addition postulate, as we saw before, it gives us a way to set up equations. But when we're working with right angles and straight angles, we need to be able to recognize those situations, and we need to know that right angles are 90 and straight angles are 180.